Fort Bragg, North Carolina, has long been known as the home of the airborne soldier. Today it is also known among those who follow the sport of skydiving, or are themselves free-fall parachutists, as home base for the masters of that spectacular trade.
Welcome to Fort Bragg. I'm Captain Bob Good, Executive Officer for the United States Army Parachute Team, the Golden Knights. The Golden Knights possess world supremacy in free-fall parachuting for the United States and the free world by holding more free-fall parachuting records than any other group. For the next half hour, we'll take you on a tour for a behind-the-scenes look at what it's like to be a Golden Knight. But for right now, I'd like to show you the trophy room. These are some of the trophies that your Army parachute team has accumulated from all over the world. They represent the very best in all possible phases of parachuting competition, both nationally and internationally. We're not a big unit as Army organizations go. 52 men make up the entire team. This breaks down into 3 teams for free-fall demonstrations and competition. But you'll see all of that later. Right now, maybe you're wondering how a man gets to be a member of the Golden Knights, what the requirements are. Well, a man must first of all be a volunteer. He must be a qualified military parachutist, and he must have over 200 free-fall parachute jumps to his credit. And he must last but not least have an outstanding record for both conduct and efficiency. Now, let's show you just how we operate. This is headquarters. Doesn't look much different from a couple of hundred other orderly rooms here at Fort Bragg. But for us, it's home. From here, the coordinating is done, training is scheduled, demonstration jumps arranged, and the national and world competitions planned for. Now let's take a regular training day.
Free-fall parachuting is not a thing to be done haphazardly or off the cuff. Detailed briefing sessions before each jump ensure that every man scheduled to step out into empty space knows exactly what he's to do and where and when and on whose signal. Only then is he ready to get into his working gear. In addition to jumpsuit and boots, this means a fitted helmet, a main parachute in back, and a reserve chute in front. Mounted on the reserve chute, where he can see them at a glance, are the 2 essential instruments of the skydiver, his altimeter and his timer. In the case of the Golden Knights, another standard item of equipment is at the lower end of this lanyard, a bracket of smoke grenades to mark the jumper's trail across the sky. Check and double check is the rule, and no one objects to the time it takes. On the way down is no place to find out you've forgotten something. This is a team effort all the way, and the pilots of the Golden Knights are a vital part of it. They don't get much spotlight, but just try getting to 14,000 feet without one. At ground level, wind speed and direction are precisely measured and reported. A smoke grenade, like the ones the jumpers wear, lets them see from above the direction and velocity of ground winds. And from the jump aircraft, specially designed streamers are dropped. They fall at almost exactly the speed of a jumper with his canopy open, giving a highly reliable indication of how much drift can be expected. When everything is ready, the word is passed to the aircraft. First out, 2 men to try a free-fall baton pass. Feet above the ground, the men pop their canopies. This, too, is a safety factor, allowing room for the reserve chute to be used if necessary. This, however, is extremely unlikely. Each man packs his own chute. With a parachute like this, you don't just hang there, you fly it. Hand toggles control the flow of air through the slots of the special Paracommander canopy. The next man out wears 3 parachutes because he's going to do what's called a cutaway. Popping his first chute at 3,000 feet, he then unhooks both sides of it. He lets one side go and holds the other with his hand, a deliberate streamer. Then he lets go, back into free fall, to open up again at 2,000 feet. Now it's 2 men again to perform a tricky maneuver called the diamond track. With smoke, they trace a diamond shape in the sky, first tracking in opposite directions until they're 2 or 3 miles apart, then turning and flying toward each other to crisscross at flashing speed in midair. The final maneuver coming up calls for 4 men. Their objective, precision formation flying without benefit of an airplane. At terminal speed, around 130 miles per hour, they streak toward the Earth. Finally, they trace a starburst of smoke in a final crossover maneuver, separating to a safe interval to pull their ripcords simultaneously.
Okay, gentlemen, if you'll give me your attention just for a minute, I'll give you a brief critique on the jump that you just made. I watched each one of the passes on the telemeter here, and I have a real good idea of what each one of the jumps looked like. For the pilot, he flew real fine orbits. They were about 4.5 minutes between each pass, exactly what we want for the regular show. On the 2-man baton pass, you came together within 1,000 feet out of the aircraft, a real good, smooth hookup, real fine show, and the spot was right on the money. The cutaway. And that's the way it goes. They'll repack, go up and jump again, and they'll do it better. Then they'll repack again, and they'll do it perfectly. These people are professionals, and for them doing it almost right is just not good enough. There's too much pride in the unit, and they keep after it until they do it perfectly.
Sometimes during practice sessions, there's time to try things just for fun, like this 4-man star.